Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet, episode 71. We're still firmly in the Ultra member submissions for the top supporters of the channel, so let's continue. This next one is interesting. It has to do with Marvel Comics villains stuff, and I haven't followed Marvel Comics in a very, very long time, so let's see what it's all about.
Venom from the PlayStation universe meets Null the symbiote god, and I am excited about this. So,
What?
This is Venomverse Reborn. This is basically an anthology book. For those of you guys who don't know what it means, it's a comic book that contains a collection of stories, one of which is the one that we're going to cover here today. So it's going to be relatively short. But I'm also in an Airbnb, so I can't be too loud. But this opens up basically with Venom from the PlayStation universe being yanked over to the main Marvel universe during.
What does Venom from the PlayStation universe mean? Venom from Spider-Man 2? He doesn't even exist anymore. The symbiote was removed from Harry Osborn. There's no more Venom. So who are they even talking about? I don't even know what this means. I'm kind of confused. Venom from the PlayStation universe, huh? That's odd.
The events of King in Black. Now, for those of you guys who don't really know a whole lot about Null and don't know a whole lot about like the King in Black event, I'll break it down for you guys.
Yeah,
Those
I don't
of
know
you
what
guys
it is
who
at
do
all.
know about it, bear with me here for a second. So in Marvel Comics, for the longest time, symbiotes were just like a thing that existed. There was just Venom, and he effectively appeared during Secret Wars, and then his character was fleshed out later on during Venom Lethal Protector by David Michelinie. But we didn't really know a whole lot about him. Eventually, Brian Michael Bendis in Guardians of the Galaxy created a story called Planet Symbiote, which basically established that there was a whole planet of these symbiotes that were out there.
They were
Writer
aliens.
Donny Cates built on that in the King in Black story. And what he established was that Null the symbiote god was kind of this primordial force that existed before the universe came into existence. When the universe was created, Null ended up going to war against the Celestials. In the process, the Celestials defeated him, but then he created the All Black, which was basically both his sword as well as the symbiotes themselves. And ever since then, symbiotes have existed within the Marvel universe. The King in Black story.
All right. Can I be honest? Can I be very honest? This is the equivalent of what they're doing with Doom, right? You start with a very simple premise. Oh, the symbiote was just a creature from space. And it's, it was like a symbiotic relationship with whoever it attached to. It would help them. Sometimes it would give them power. Sometimes their powers would be amplified, right? That's why, it attaches itself to Spider-Man. Now it's giving him better web powers, better power. You know what I mean? But then it kind of changes him to be different in his personality or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Then they said, well, planet symbiotes. There's actually a planet of symbiotes out there. Now it makes sense. It was that spaceship that the original Venom symbiote attached to, but he was from a planet of all these symbiotes. He was just the rogue one that was lost in space, but they all exist, and that's all these symbiotes come to Earth. They have a big fight. Okay. Oh, there's a King in Black who's a primordial god who fought the Celestials before the universe was created, and then he made an All Black, which is the source of all symbiotes, and he had a sword. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I understand that it's the realm of fantasy, it's comic book stuff, but at some point you're like, dude, what the fuck are you smoking? Can you stop now? Like, the symbiotes are established of what they are. People like them for what they are. Why do we now have to go so insane in some weirdo direction and make all this shit up 20 fucking years or more after the original symbiote debuted just to have another storyline? It's dumb. I don't like this at all. This sounds like shit to me. It's the same as saying, the Doom Marine was a one-man army against an invading army of hell demons on Mars. Cool. Then the demons came to Earth, and against all odds, the Space Marine amped up, adrenalined up, and he killed them all. Cool. Oh, by the way, the Space Marine was actually a space hero who went through space fighting both angels and demons previous to all the events of the previous Doom games, but you'll find that out later in a backstory game. What the fuck are you talking about? Why did you change it to be so extreme and different? Because you want to be edgy, because you want more content? I don't like when they do that shit at all. It really pisses me off when they do that stuff. So, in my opinion now, I think this is terrible. I've heard 1 minute of this storyline. I hate it already. Null sounds like a fucking hack job, fucking awful plot line written by someone who had no originality and just wanted to change something existing to be their own because everyone likes the symbiote stuff. So let's change it to be something different so I can write content for it. How about you write your own original story that's fun instead of ruining the lore of something everyone else already liked? I hate that shit. Okay, let's continue.
Story was a story where it saw Null released from a prison where he was actually being held by the symbiotes themselves. It's kind of a wonky little bit of history there, but he ended up making a campaign directly for Earth and like showing up on Earth with the Celestials in tow, like completely conquering them. It was nuts how crazy this story got. It's still one of the best events that Marvel had done in the last like 10 to 15 years.
It's one of the best events Marvel's done in the last 10 to 15 years. Then I don't think Marvel's done many good events. I'm sorry. Like, they probably suck now. Again, I'm out of the loop of Marvel Comics. This sounds utterly bad to me.
But this part here is an event that took place that we just didn't know about. The idea that Venom shows up in the main Marvel Universe and is confronted by Null. Now, there are things that writer Benjamin Percy does here to kind of shift up what we know about Null to a degree, and kind of building on what's been done ever since Donny Cates finished King in Black. And so initially when he shows up here, Null...
Look how dumb this looks. The King in Black Null is wearing the fucking Spider-Man symbol on his chest. Because what that's supposed to be is when Venom took over Spider-Man and made the black suit, he took the idea of Spider-Man but turned it into its own thing. So that's the Venom fucking symbol. And now they're going to claim, oh no, that came from Null the King. No, it didn't. It came from Spider-Man's spider suit, you fucking moron. Who wrote this shit? You're a hack. God, this legit is angering me. We just changed it all. We just changed every part of the fucking plot line because we wanted to make more fucking money on a shit story. God damn these fucking people. Write your own fucking stories.
Because Venom
don't change everybody else's. Stop retconning good stuff.
This seems to be a kind of like backdoor way to explain
Look how dumb that looks.
So many references to Null the symbiote god in Spider-Man PS5. But what it does here is it picks up with Null talking directly to Venom. Now, of course, as we know in the PlayStation universe, Venom is Harry Osborn, not Eddie Brock. And so Null simply explains, like, I am the Father, right? Your creator, your God. I have been called by many names. The Abyss made flesh, the Destroyer of Stars, the King in Black.
Listen to how lame that sounds. What the fuck? Oh, I am your Father, your creator, your God. I've been called by many names. The Abyss made flesh, the Destroyer of Stars. What? He's so cliche. That's what they wrote. They thought that was good writing.
But you, favored one, may call me Null. And that's why Harry, not knowing who Null is like, why have you brought me here? And one of the big differences, it's a flimsy difference at best, right? But one of the big differences here is that Null basically puts forward this idea that he's looking to conquer all of creation and return it all to darkness. And that was basically the motivation of Null, right? Null, as a kind of representation of the absence of light in life, really wanted to send the universe back to a time when there was no real life per se. And if there was, right, it just kind of existed under his control. But stars would go out, the universe would be a place of complete and total darkness, basically for all eternity, right? Effectively, Null was like the ultimate emo guy, right? Sitting around all day, smoking cigarettes, listening to The Cure. And so what he does when he puts...
Do we even want to listen to any more of this? It's like the worst plot I've ever heard. This is one of the best events they did in the past 10 to 15 years. This. I don't know. I mean, I guess when I was reading comics, I was reading the Chris Claremont, Jim Lee run of the X-Men reboot, right? The whole Acolytes, Magneto plot line. Super well done, well executed. I was watching Maximum Carnage. Well, I was reading Maximum Carnage, this ultimate kind of crossover between a bunch of B-level Marvel superheroes and villains, but tying into the Carnage plot line and, you know, serious repercussions. Will anyone ever kill Carnage because they just need to? It was kind of like the same as the Joker in DC Universe, where why does no one kill Carnage? Because when they don't, he just mass kills people. Someone has to stop him finally. Like, that's the whole plot line. Like, that, those are good stories to me. This sounds like someone took a dump in the middle of a pages of a Venom comic and smashed it together into like a big meshy paste and said, oh, by the way, we'll combine this cliche, this cliche, this cliche. Here's a comic for you. Okay. Oh, it's the best event in 10 to 15 years. What the fuck? This sounds like shit. And the best part, they're saying Marvel's most powerful villain. This is Marvel's most powerful villain. He's tougher than everything they faced before. He's tougher than the Infinity Gauntlet shit. Oh, okay. Nah, fuck this. We're going to the next video. I've had enough. I'm glad I don't read comics anymore. I'm very glad I don't read comics anymore. If that's what they're doing, I mean, holy fuck, dude. I want nothing to do with that. Mexico's insane Bulls of Fire festival. All right, I'm only gonna watch some of this. Plus, there's music playing. I don't know about this music, so let's see. But let's see what this is. Holy shit! What happened? Why are we looking at your eyeball?
And this is Tultepec, which is a small town in Mexico State, right outside Mexico City. This particular town is very famous for their fireworks festival, and their
Okay, let's see it. I don't want to see you talk about it. I actually want to see it. I don't want to see you talk about it. Okay, here we go.
So, that little turkey is gonna kick off the evening. We just finished watching the parade of the bulls going through the streets. They're all parading down here to the main square to be lit on fire, just like that one. The kids will kick it off, and then the giant ones will go.
People are insane.
They'll be setting up a hospital, a makeshift hospital here.
Yeah, so they're allowed to just run through the streets with fireworks shooting everywhere, and a lot of them get hurt, and then they have to get treated on the spot. Are you kidding? Look at this. These people are nuts. I mean, I guess it's a way to live. It's a crazy daredevil shit. Look at this. They're out of their minds. Standing that close to the fireworks? How many people lose fingers and shit and lose limbs? And they have, you know what I mean? Like, is it worth it? You realize it doesn't grow back, right? God damn, dude. Insane. I never understood thrill seeking. I guess what it is in my life, I already have enough stress and shit going on. The last thing I need is thrill seeking. Why, you know? The last thing I'm looking for is to jump out of a plane or, you know, launch myself on a stretchy cord off of a bridge or dance near a bunch of fucking dangerous fireworks as they all explode. I guess we're going to go to the next video. It's insane. That's nuts. So, by the way, yes, this is a political video. We're probably not watching the whole thing. I'll watch a little bit of it.
In his famous 1984 interview, Soviet dissident Yuri Bezmenov explained that Moscow knew it couldn't defeat the United States in a head-on conflict. Instead, the Kremlin devised a four-stage plan to subvert U.S. society and turn the American public against itself.
Ha!
The first stage, the former KGB agent said, was called demoralization and would take 15 to 20 years because that's how long the media and sympathetic teachers needed to re-educate one generation of American students.
So that was 1984. So he's saying that would have been done by the late 90s or early 2000s, 2004 at the latest. Okay.
But Bezmenov said this stage was already completed because the hippies of the 1960s, who were contaminated with Marxist-Leninist values, were entering positions of power by the time of the interview. The next two stages would be marked by political polarization and the erosion of trust in our institutions. The final stage of communist subversion, normalization, would be realized once Americans began to freely express the views of their own enemies. 40 years later, we have American teens on Chinese communist-run TikTok telling us bin Laden had a point. We have champagne socialist vloggers on BreadTube arguing Russia invaded Ukraine in self-defense. We have Leninist anti-war activists cheering when Iran fires missiles at our allies, student speakers praising North Korea, and activists chanting death to America in California, Michigan, and New York. The United States...
See, here's the thing about life as I'm getting older that I'm realizing, okay? Not everything that is told to you, especially by media, is true. But that also doesn't immediately mean that the exact polar opposite is true either. Okay? There's nothing wrong with exploring a worldview, a political view, a moral view, a religious view that's diametrically opposite to your own. It's okay to look into that and try to see from someone else's perspective. Even someone as heinous as an Osama bin Laden, who's doing these awful acts of terrorism and killing tons of innocent people, probably has some kind of a view in his head that he's right and has some kind of a moral reason why he feels like what he's doing is right. And it's okay to explore that to understand where they're coming from. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it. It doesn't mean you have to sympathize with it, but you should probably know your enemy. You understand what I'm saying? It's better to know what's going on rather than say, oh, they're just crazy, they're wrong. Well, why are they thinking that way? You need to get in their heads to understand this, right? Now, I'm sure as you are walking in someone else's shoes, you may actually find some points you agree with. Perhaps a terrorist that doesn't like America might have a few reasons that they've identified of why America is twisted and wrong in various different ways. And it's okay as a logical thinking human adult to explore those things and maybe open up your eyes for yourself and realize, again, not everything is roses and unicorns and fucking rainbows around here. There are things in place that you may not even realize about our government and stuff that are meant for outright things like suppression of information and stuff like that, right? Nasty stuff that we don't really want to delve with, but at some point you kind of have to at least explore and see, is it true or not, right? But the difference between exploring versus actually 100% blanket believing and adopting is very, very different. There may be some things very wrong with American society. I will even go ahead and I think there are things that should be fixed or improved. Does that mean that the way to solve it is to fly planes into the World Trade Center and kill thousands of people? No. That's the insane extreme. Do you see? So there's the difference. He's saying, reading that, oh, I agree with Osama bin Laden. No. You may agree with some philosophical things that he felt about the way that America is structured and things that should be improved. You agree that everyone should be murdered because of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's different ways to approach this. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I think is going on. And he's looking at this and saying how Marxism subverted America. I don't think that Marxism subverted America, but sadly, as we just talked about previous in another video with the conspiracy theory shit, there's so many people on this planet, and in particular in America, they're bored. They've got nothing to do. They've got no interesting stuff going on in their lives whatsoever. So instead of actually finding something productive, interesting, or meaningful to do, they dive down these rabbit holes of conspiracy, of, all of the villains who hate us actually are right. Let's now, you know what I'm saying? If they had fucking shit to do with their lives, they wouldn't be so enamored by this weirdo shit. We need to know what our enemies are thinking. We need to know about other philosophies of life, morality, religion, politics. It's important as an adult to understand that stuff, to know where people are coming from. That doesn't mean that you adopt it, right? That's insane. That's just as extreme as people who are ultra hoorah for the political engines as well, right? The people who are like, oh, I love America no matter what. America can do no wrong. And if you ever question American, mentality, you must be a traitor to America, right? No, there's very well ways to go about this that aren't just going to the extreme. And that's the problem. We have people who are just like kind of weak-minded and they go to the extreme. North Korea was, everything they do is right and Osama was right. That's insanity to say those things if you just explore them at a logic level, right? But that's the thing, is people aren't thinking with logic. They're thinking with emotion. Man, I need something to do with my life. So I got to jump into this dark conspiracy shit. You know what I mean? But do I think that Marxism has so completely subverted America? No. I just think that we have too many people who don't have anything to do. To be quite frank, there's too many people who are sitting around on the internet all day with no life. So this is where they go. They go down these crazy conspiracy fucking rabbit holes. And this is what ends up. They make the crazy videos and shit. And then there's more people who see that, and it spreads even further, right? That's what I think is going on. I'll watch a little bit more of this, but no, I don't think that Marxism is subverting America.
Is in the fourth and final stage of a communist subversion, and half the country doesn't even know we're in a fight. That's because we misidentify and misjudge communism when we see it. We misidentify communism because we think of it in terms of Stalinist gulags and seizing the means of production without recognizing that Marxist theories of power and liberation through anti-capitalistic revolution are also central to woke politics, anti-racism, trans ideology, post-colonial theory, CRT, DEI, and pro-Palestine rallies. We
So there you go. He's basically saying that everything that's leftist is bad because it's all Marxism. That's not necessarily true. Some of it may be true, but that's the extreme. So he has to go right to the extreme, right? We have to go all the way to this side now. All those things are awful, and all those things are absolute Marxism. Okay, if you say so, bro.
Communism, because it has no political power in America. So we assume it has no power at all. The Communist Party USA's last prominent member was Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996. And its best electoral performance was when Alexander Nural of California's 5th District won 6.2% of the vote in the House elections of 1934. But in terms of soft power, the culture wars raging in our schools, our film studios and streaming platforms turning into ministries of woke messaging, our news outlets worrying more about offending than misleading, our corporations practicing and often enforcing groupthink, this ideology has become hegemonic in the culture. Ironically, what caused this was communism's early failure to launch. Frustrated by German workers having yet to overthrow capitalism, sociologists Max Horkheimer and Theodor Adorno concluded it was because the public had been brainwashed. In 1923, they founded the Frankfurt School to solve the problem. But instead of economists, the school was made up of social scientists, a literary critic, a philosopher, and a playwright. So rather than economic analysis, they produced cultural analysis. The Frankfurt School taught that film, radio, books, and music mostly amounted to bread and circuses. In other words, pop culture is the opium of the masses, making people happier and therefore less likely to erect barricades on the neighborhood block. They believed the culture industry would not be defeated by economists and their quantitative studies of surplus extraction, but by culture critics like themselves, armed with critiques that reveal how something as seemingly benign as a Valentine's Day card might secretly be an instrument of capitalistic exploitation through the commodification of love. Adorno himself believed jazz, which he called, quote, the false liquidation of art, was an especially nasty tool of capitalist mind control. Like Adorno's idiotic opinions on music, much of the school's critiquing went nowhere. But one member, Herbert Marcuse, would become the godfather of woke, thanks to his conviction that the most promising revolutionaries would come not from the working class, but from the margins of society. Marginalized people would be the least content, and if society marginalized them on the basis of characteristics they could not change, they might be eager to change society itself. Marcuse therefore regarded feminism as inherently revolutionary.
I mean, he's going to keep going. He's going to get more and more and more deep into this. There's basically, I'm not saying that what he's saying is untrue right now. Yes, these people existed, but I don't believe that what's happening right now in society is a direct result of their grand master plan that's now been going on for 100 years. No, I don't. I don't believe that at all. I do believe that there are powers at work in the United States to try to change culture for personal gain. I don't think it has anything to do with what he's describing. It's not some crazy Marxist subversion attempt to turn us all into communists. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not what actually is happening here.
And in a 1970,
it's very different from that. But this guy is basically on the edge of fringe, right? Like, he's gonna say, well, because people 100 years ago were saying this stuff and studying it, and look at what's happening today. Obviously, this must be what's going on. No, there's no. You're not going to find that evidence of connection. He's really stretching the truth to be something that he wants it to be, the narrative to be what he wants it to be. Sadly, our country is under control of a lot of different corporations, a lot of different people in power who have bad intentions for our country. It's that simple. And they're trying to find different ways to go about, pulling off what they want to pull off. But I don't think it lies from 100-year Marxist plot. I think this is pretty ridiculous at this point. This is a pretty ridiculous video, in my opinion. Okay, you can disagree. I think this is pretty long nonsense. This would be the longest long game in history, right? And here's the real reason I don't believe it. Because these people who try to look out for themselves, they're looking for short term, right? They're trying to get over in the short term. No one 100 years ago wanted to change America 100 years later because they knew they'd be dead. So they don't care, right? They're looking to do stuff fast. So this doesn't make sense that there'd be a 100+ year long game to change the culture of America. Again, you want to talk about conspiracy theory? Here you go. Like, this is the definition of conspiracy theory right now. It's pretty nuts. Okay, we got time for one more video in this part.
Now, many of you are familiar with some of the different frequency states of your brain.
Oh, God. What is this now? You guys submitted some of the wildest stuff this week. Frequency states of your brain? How to attract anything into your life by going gamma. Oh, my Lord. What could this be? You guys submitted the most crazy fringe shit this week. You guys are trying to melt my brain right now with this stuff. Like, what is going on? All right. Let's see what this is.
You know that there are states that put you in different kinds of modalities, different kinds of perspectives. But many of you are also not familiar with the idea called the gamma state, which is between 40 and 100 cycles per second.
Why are his eyes closed? I'm just curious. Is he blind or something? Or is this how he does it? He preaches with his eyes closed or something? I wonder. Huh.
In your brain. In the typical channeling state, it averages somewhere around 45 to 50 cycles per second.
What are cycles? What the hell is he talking about? What's a
50
cycle?
hertz, as you say.
I don't know what that means.
And this particular vibration allows you
That's how he does. Vibration. Yeah, he's talking in a weird way to make you think like he knows what he's talking about. Vibration.
Experience in the neurological net of your brain more cohesiveness. More
I will say this. I like how he dresses. That's all I have to say. I do have to compliment his wardrobe. All right. Okay.
acceleration, more connection. More
Maybe, hold on. Maybe I should be watching this video with my eyes closed. Hold on. All right, ready? I'm going to watch the video like he's doing it. Maybe I'll get more of it. Ready? Here we go.
synchronization, while also simultaneously allowing
Yes.
certain neural pathways to actually close down
Oh.
in order for the focus
Oh.
that is necessary to bring
Feeling
through
something.
information from higher
I'm feeling something.
perspectives, higher points of
Oh,
view.
I got a fart. What the fuck is going on? What did you guys submit? What is this? What the fuck is this guy rambling about? What is he talking about?
Now, in general, when you are doing anything that you love to do, following your excitement, acting on your passion,
Yes.
you are in a gamma state.
So anytime that you're doing something you like to do, you're in a gamma state. Okay. Like a red
The
state or a
idea
blue state?
being, as you say, in the zone, peak performance,
Peak
deep
performance.
meditation,
Oh my God.
but also simply when you are engaged and involved, not noticing what you call the passage of time,
Okay.
that is the gamma state.
All right.
Also,
So when you're having, time flies when you're having fun. That's the gamma state to him. Okay. I don't know what the hell he's talking about cycles in his fucking head, but I kind of understand what he's saying there. Okay.
typically called the channeling state. Now, you can channel in a sense without being in the gamma state because every single one of you from time to time will channel through the gamma state by acting on the thing you love most, by following your passion. And anytime you do, you are, in a sense, connecting with your higher mind, bringing more of your total being through, accessing information and perspectives and ideas and dimensions that may not necessarily be par for the course in your day-to-day existence when not functioning in the gamma state. Nevertheless, it isn't the only way in which many of you channel. To really bring it down to a simple understanding, because each and every one of you is a greater being than just your physical persona, you can understand that because physical reality is a projection, is an illusion, is a reflective mirror happening within your consciousness and doesn't really exist outside of you, then this personality, this person you consider yourselves to be, is actually a channeled entity.
He literally just said that the physical world isn't real. It's all in your mind. So I think we can move on now. I don't think this man has anything else to offer. Boy, today was conspiracy day, right? Today was conspiracy. We had a video explaining conspiracies. We had a guy who completely formulated a Marxism conspiracy. And now this guy actually believes that the physical world is not even real. Wow. I mean, we're going even deeper, huh? Holy moly. What a day today has been. Well, thanks for watching DSP versus the internet. So this is a wild episode. I don't think we've ever had a show so far this wild, right? This is pretty bizarre stuff. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next part when it looks like we will finish the Ultra Member submissions and we've got more politicking to do. What a day. Holy shit.